right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something pretty cool. It's called AKTIFUL, and it's a brand new platform. It's actually launching November 30th. So AKTIFUL, they're trying to create this space to connect Bangladeshi Americans with opportunities to contribute to, what they're calling a better Bangladesh. And the name itself is interesting, right? AKTIFUL kind of plays on the Bengali word for flower, ekstaful. It suggests growth,
Yeah.
positive action, blossoming of potential.
Yeah, and it really is ambitious. It makes you wonder, can a platform actually become the catalyst for change on like a national scale?
Right. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not starting completely from scratch. They're drawing inspiration from some pretty big names, right? You've got Dr. Eunice's social business model, and then there's the Y Combinator mentorship approach.
Yeah, and using those names is very deliberate. Dr. Eunice won a Nobel Peace Prize, right? And he basically pioneered this whole idea of social business. Ventures that are designed to be financially sustainable, but they prioritize social good over just pure profit. And then you've got Y Combinator, a giant in the startup world, famous for mentoring companies like Airbnb and Dropbox. So AKTIFUL is kind of signaling that they're in it for the long haul, building on these proven models for success.
Okay, so let's talk about how this actually, translates into action. AKTIFUL has this three-pronged approach: tackling misinformation, facilitating technology transfer, and supporting both students and entrepreneurs. Let's start with the misinformation piece. Bangladesh's political climate can be pretty heated, so why is this such a priority for AKTIFUL?
Well, Bangladesh has a long history of, political volatility. And in recent years, these online misinformation campaigns has become a real threat. I mean, these campaigns can actually manipulate public opinion. They can incite violence, even undermine democratic processes. Think about, the impact of fake news in other parts of the world. It's incredibly destabilizing. So AKTIFUL wants to equip people with the tools to critically evaluate information and advocate for a more, truthful public discourse.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to create a digital shield against these harmful narratives.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a really powerful concept in today's world. So let's move on to the technology transfer piece. AKTIFUL wants to empower entrepreneurs with tech that can boost growth, but also protect free speech. What kind of tech are we talking about here?
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. We could be talking about secure communication platforms that can bypass censorship, or tools that promote digital literacy and fact-checking, maybe even blockchain-based solutions to make governance more transparent. It's about creating a space where innovation can flourish, and freedom of expression is protected, which is essential for a healthy democracy.
So they're not just, providing funding. They're giving people the tools to actually build a more open and informed society. And then there's this dual focus on students and entrepreneurs. AKTIFUL is offering scholarships, as well as various levels of funding for new ventures. What does that tell us about their long-term vision?
It suggests they're taking a very comprehensive approach, a commitment to building a sustainable ecosystem for change from the ground up. They're not just looking for a quick fix, they're investing in education, nurturing a culture of entrepreneurship, and empowering individuals to drive progress. This is about creating a new generation of leaders and change makers who can shape the future of Bangladesh.
It's like they're planting seeds for a future where Bangladeshis have the resources and the support they need to actually shape their own destiny. But, AKTIFUL isn't just talking about theoretical frameworks and future aspirations. They're already taking action. So let's talk about their first project. They're sponsoring a student film about the tragic murder of Abrar Fahad. He was a BUT student killed by the student wing of the ruling party. That's a pretty bold choice for a first project, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, Abrar Fahad's murder sent shockwaves through Bangladesh, and it highlighted the very real dangers of political dissent. By supporting this film, AKTIFUL is demonstrating a commitment to confronting, difficult truths and demanding accountability. They're saying that they're not afraid to tackle tough issues head on.
Right. It's a really powerful statement about their commitment to justice and creating a society where these kinds of tragedies just don't happen. To really understand what drives AKTIFUL, I think we need to go back to their origin story. August 5th, they're calling it a new independence for Bangladesh. So what happened on this day, and why was it such a turning point?
Well, August 5th marked the culmination of this student-led movement. They actually successfully overthrew a 15-year dictatorship. Imagine the courage it took for these students, a lot of them very young, to stand up to a repressive regime. They organized protests, spread information, and ultimately brought about a massive political shift.
Yeah, that must have been an incredible moment. I mean, these students risked everything to fight for a better Bangladesh. And their success, I imagine, just ignited hope, not just within the country, but also among the Bangladeshi diaspora.
It was a moment of reckoning. Even for people living abroad, it forced people to confront the reality of what was happening in Bangladesh, the divisions within communities,
Yeah.
and their own responsibility. And for the founders of AKTIFUL, this event seems to have been a real catalyst for action. They felt compelled to be a part of this movement for change.
And that brings us to AKTIFUL's unique approach, I guess. They've decided to operate as a social enterprise, not a traditional nonprofit. So what are the pros and cons of this model? And why do you think they chose this path?
Well, the traditional nonprofit model often relies heavily on donations, right? Which can make it difficult to scale, and it can create dependencies. A social enterprise, on the other hand, aims to actually generate revenue through its activities, making it more self-sustaining and less reliant on outside funding. This way, they can have more control over their direction, and they're less beholden to the agendas of donors.
So it's almost like they're building a business with a social mission baked right in. But doesn't that create the potential for, a conflict of interest? Is there pressure to prioritize profit over impact?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the challenge. And that's why transparency and ethical governance are so essential for social enterprises. But AKTIFUL seems to be addressing this head on. They've publicly committed to capping profits and reinvesting in their social goals, which I think shows that they're aware of this potential pitfall.
It sounds like they're trying to strike that balance between financial sustainability and social impact, creating like a virtuous cycle. So we've covered a lot of ground here. AKTIFUL's origins, their mission, their unconventional approach. What stands out to you the most?
What strikes me is just the boldness of their vision. They're not simply trying to just alleviate symptoms. They're tackling the root causes of some of Bangladesh's biggest challenges. And they're doing it with a multifaceted approach that combines technology, education, and entrepreneurship. Yeah, it's a really comprehensive strategy. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the long run.
Speaking of playing out, let's talk about what a better Bangladesh actually looks like. AKTIFUL keeps using this phrase, Bangladesh 2.0. What do you think they mean by that?
Well, it's a catchy phrase. I think for me, it's a Bangladesh that's really living up to its potential. Economically vibrant, socially just, technologically advanced. A place where everybody has the opportunity to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah, I think you've captured it. It's about a Bangladesh that's more equitable, more resilient, more connected to the global community. But, we have to be realistic. Building Bangladesh 2.0 isn't going to happen overnight. It's a long game. It requires commitment, collaboration, and a willingness to adapt. And AKTIFUL is really just one piece of the puzzle, right? I mean, they're going to need to work alongside other organizations, government agencies, and, most importantly, the people of Bangladesh. Which brings me to a question that a lot of our listeners are probably thinking about. How can they actually measure their impact? How will they know if what they're doing is actually making a difference in people's lives?
Right, and that's the essential question for any social enterprise. It's something that AKTIFUL is going to have to really address. They need to establish clear metrics and frameworks for actually evaluating their progress across all those three key areas we talked about: countering misinformation, fostering tech transfer, and supporting those students and entrepreneurs.
So it's not just about launching these projects and initiatives. They actually have to demonstrate that their efforts are leading to tangible improvements, whether that's greater access to reliable information, or the rise of new businesses, or just a stronger sense of agency among young people.
Exactly, and transparency is going to be key here. AKTIFUL is going to have to be open about their successes, but also their struggles. Share those insights with their community and stakeholders. That kind of transparency builds trust and reinforces their commitment to accountability.
Yeah, it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Let's zoom in on one of AKTIFUL's core focus areas, the technology transfer. So we've talked about how technology can empower individuals and promote free speech. But how might this play out specifically in Bangladesh? Like, what are some real-world examples?
Okay, well, imagine online platforms that deliver really high-quality educational resources to anyone with an internet connection, regardless of where they are or their socioeconomic status. That could be huge for rural communities where access to good education is limited.
Yeah, that would be a game changer, especially in a country where there's so much potential, but it's untapped because of these geographical barriers.
Yeah. Right. And think about the possibilities of mobile technology. You can connect farmers with markets, provide access to financial services, deliver vital healthcare information. These are all areas where tech can actually bridge those gaps and empower people to improve their lives.
So it's about using technology to create a more inclusive and equitable society. And of course, we can't forget about the potential of technology to fuel entrepreneurship and creativity.
Oh, absolutely. Think about crowdfunding platforms, e-commerce tools, digital marketing resources. All of these can help aspiring entrepreneurs launch new ventures, connect with customers, and contribute to economic growth. It's about creating a more dynamic and innovative economy that's driven by the energy and ideas of Bangladeshis.
It's about giving people the tools they need to become active participants in their own economic future, rather than just passive bystanders. So, given Bangladesh's political history, some people might be a bit skeptical about the potential for real change, like real lasting change. What would you say to those who are feeling, I don't know, cynical?
I mean, skepticism is natural, and it's good to approach any initiative with a healthy dose of critical thinking. But cynicism can be paralyzing, right? If you think change is impossible, then you just become part of the problem. And AKTIFUL is choosing to be part of the solution. They're taking action. And their efforts, even if they don't solve every problem, can still inspire others to follow suit.
Yeah, it's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. They're not just talking about change, they're creating it.
And that's what makes their story so compelling. They're not shying away from the challenges, they're confronting them head on.
So let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about AKTIFUL's work with students and entrepreneurs. What do you make of that dual focus?
I think it says a lot about their vision for the long term. It's not about quick fixes or temporary solutions. It's about investing in the people who will drive progress for years to come, recognizing that real change requires nurturing the talents and aspirations of young people.
It's about empowering the next generation of Bangladeshis so they can become the architects of their own future, the leaders who will shape that Bangladesh 2.0 we've been talking about.
Yeah, and that brings us to the heart of the matter, right? AKTIFUL's potential to actually be a catalyst for lasting change in Bangladesh. They're not just offering solutions, they're trying to spark a movement. They're igniting a passion for progress within the Bangladeshi community, both at home and abroad.
It's like they're providing the spark. And it's up to the community to fan those flames into a sustainable fire of change.
And that's where their support for students and entrepreneurs comes in. They're investing in those future leaders and innovators who will shape Bangladesh 2.0.
It's like planting seeds of hope, nurturing them with knowledge, resources, mentorship, and watching them grow into this thriving ecosystem of change.
That's a great analogy. And don't forget that this isn't just about financial support. AKTIFUL is providing access to mentorship and networks, connecting these aspiring change makers with people who have experience and can guide them.
So it's about building a sense of community, a shared commitment to creating a better Bangladesh, a space where people can learn from each other, support each other, and work together.
And that sense of community is really important for the Bangladeshi diaspora. They often feel deeply connected to their homeland, but they may not always have the opportunity to contribute directly.
And that's where AKTIFUL comes in,
Yeah.
building a bridge between those who want to make a difference and the communities that need their support.
Exactly. And I think this bridge building is so crucial for fostering understanding and breaking down stereotypes. It's about recognizing that the Bangladeshi community is diverse, with so many different perspectives and experiences.
And it seems like AKTIFUL really embraces that diversity. They've created this platform where different voices can be heard and different approaches to change can be explored.
And that's what makes their work so exciting. It's not about imposing one vision for the future. It's about fostering a collective process of discovery and innovation.
It's about empowering individuals to take ownership of their destinies and work together towards a shared vision. So we've explored a lot. The challenges and opportunities facing AKTIFUL, their vision for Bangladesh 2.0, and their role as a catalyst for change. But at the end of the day, their success is going to depend on the engagement and participation of the Bangladeshi community.
Absolutely. No movement can succeed without the people it's trying to empower.
So, to our listeners, we ask, how will you answer AKTIFUL's call to action? Will you be a part of this movement for positive change? Will you contribute your skills, your knowledge, your passion to building this Bangladesh 2.0 we've been talking about?
That's the question we all have to consider. As AKTIFUL launches on November 30th, I encourage you to check out their website, listen to their podcast, learn more about their work, and find your own way to get involved.
Because the future of Bangladesh isn't something that will be handed down, right? It's something that will be built from the ground up by people who are committed to making a difference. AKTIFUL is providing the platform, the tools, and the inspiration to make that happen.
So join the movement, embrace the challenge, and let's work together to create a brighter future for Bangladesh. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
As we've been talking about AKTIFUL, It really is striking just how ambitious their vision is. They're not just trying to make small changes here and there. They really want to create like a whole new Bangladesh.
It's a big goal,
Yeah.
especially given how complex things are in Bangladesh.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's important is that they understand that change needs more than just new laws or programs. It requires a change in how people think. People need to believe that something better is actually possible.
And that's why it makes sense that they're focusing on giving individuals more power. Whether it's giving people tools to figure out what's true and what's not, or encouraging new technologies, or supporting students and entrepreneurs. AKTIFUL is creating a foundation for citizens who are more involved and empowered.
Yeah, it's about helping people feel like they have a stake in this, like they can actually have a role in shaping the future of their country. And that's so important for a country like Bangladesh, a country that's often been defined by its problems, poverty, political instability, natural disasters. AKTIFUL is offering a new story, one that focuses on potential, on resilience, on the power of people working together.
So it's about shifting the narrative from dependence to agency, from focusing on problems to focusing on solutions. It's a powerful message, not just for Bangladesh, but for anyone who believes that people can overcome any obstacle.
And people are responding to that message. We're already seeing so much support for AKTIFUL, both within Bangladesh and in the diaspora. People want change, and they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
It really shows the power of a clear vision and a well-thought-out plan. AKTIFUL isn't just giving handouts. They're offering a way for people to lift themselves up, a chance to be part of something that could really change everything.
And that's what makes this so inspiring. It reminds us that change is possible, even when things seem really tough, as long as we dare to dream big and work together to make those dreams a reality.
So AKTIFUL is launching on November 30th. We encourage you to follow their journey, go to their website, check out what they're doing, and find a way to get involved.
Because the future isn't something that just happens, right? We
Yeah.
create the future together, and AKTIFUL is giving us a chance to be part of creating that future.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this has gotten you thinking about the power of ideas, about the importance of taking action, and about the potential we all have to make a real difference in the world.